Good morning, everyone. This is Judith A. Cope. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So, some people are frustrated because I put a picture of Joe Rogan on the front of my podcast, but, if they had actually listened to it, they would eventually understand why I did that. I don't know why, I'm bringing this back up because I'm in my brother's apartment. He's got, or not anymore, because we've donated several bags of hospital supplies. We've thrown out all that was used and open. And he had, thousands of dollars worth of supplies. And it's a crisis because you've got people in their homes with all of this shit to take care of themselves. And maybe they should be in a hospital, but there's no, like I realized with my mom, there's no plan to keep people long-term in the hospital. If there ever was, it's really gone now. So basically your hospitals are nothing but big emergency rooms. Yes, they'll treat you in the emergency room, and if you merit a stay, they'll send you to a floor for a while, but don't expect to be there, for any length of time unless you're really, really, dangerously sick. Like if you're in there for 6 weeks, you had something really, really, really bad happen to you. But most people are going to get treated, observed, and then sent home with tons of crap to take care of themselves. And this is where you need a community. This is where you need your family. This is why people are moving back to where the majority of their family is based, because you're not going to be able to do this by yourself. And what I don't understand is how no one is talking about it. It's this quiet shame. When I started telling people I was taking care of my mom, the number of people were like, oh yeah, me too. Or the number of people were like, yeah, I had to take care of my parents. I moved them in with me. All that kind of stuff. It's like the thing that nobody talks about. I had a coworker, I worked with her every day for 7 years. Had a pretty decent rapport. I mean, we're not friends. I haven't seen her since I quit my job. But, while we worked together, we talked a lot. And it never came up. Somebody was like, you should talk to so-and-so about her parents. Turns out, it was just as bad as, if not worse, than my mom, because she had both parents living together, not remembering anything. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know why nobody's talking about it and offering solutions. It's almost like either they don't care to tell us or prepare us, but this is going to devastate families. It's expensive. You have to decide if and most people aren't on Medicaid. If you were middle class, you're not on Medicaid right now. And so you're sitting on like this house and some cars and some cash, and you fall and hit your head. Your kids realize they can't take care of you. You're gonna have to spend all that money down. And if you don't, the government will. I do not understand what's going on. And I feel like I'm just screaming on the side of the road. Like, this thing is out of control. It's a crisis. Talk to any elder care attorney. This is crisis level because there are so many illnesses. People are living longer, but they're not healthier. So you live 10 years longer, but you have Alzheimer's or you have Parkinson's, which is being diagnosed at a faster rate, which is terrifying, than Alzheimer's. You have Lewy body, which is Alzheimer's and Parkinson's combined. I mean, there's cancer, there's all these diseases that people are just living with. And that means money for, big pharma, but it means a lot of expenditure for you. I just heard a story yesterday. I think my cousin's mom is really, really ill, and at times she couldn't afford her medication because it was $900 a month. And it's like, my goodness, what are people going to do? And why isn't anybody talking about it? The mainstream media does not talk about it. Your favorite podcasters, they don't talk about it. Back about I don't know, 7 years ago, you would probably be able to look at somebody like Tom Bilyeu, and he would have somebody on to talk about it. But now he's obsessed with finances and Trump. It's just like, what is going on? And I get it. All that is kind of important. I understand. But whatever is going on out in the world doesn't affect me nearly as much as what's going on in my household on a day-to-day basis. And while I want to know as much as I can about as much as I can without getting, consumed by it, I really want to know what anybody's trying to do to help me with, long-term care for my parents, for my uncles and aunts, for my siblings. And I think a lot of people feel that way. So it's very strange. We live in a very strange time in history where there's this big, big thing that's plaguing a lot of American families, yet no one talks about it, and there's no help, there's no financial products, there's nothing. You just got to figure it out. And I think that is kind of ridiculous. I just do. Moving on, DTF St. Louis is about the weirdest and worst show I've ever seen. I oddly can't stop watching it. They've done a terrible job representing St. Louis. Sometimes what's really fun about a great show, a show like I'm watching Billions and The Pit and all these shows that are set in these cities where they actually use the city as part of the show, like The Office. Scranton, Pennsylvania. I never thought anything about Scranton, Pennsylvania, but now I'm so happy when I see Scranton, PA, because of The Office. It's just so weird to me how you can set a show in St. Louis and then have nothing authentic about it. We don't have Jamba Juice. Nobody's eating emos. Nobody's even eating a bag of Red Hot Riplets. Nobody's eating our very delicious Chinese food, which is the best in the country for Americanized Chinese food. I remember when I went to college, I went to DC and I ordered some crab rangoon, and they had no idea what I was talking about. And then shortly thereafter, I guess most of us asked for it, then all of a sudden they started making it up there, at least around Howard. So it's like, we have so many great things. They just shit on our city and then gave us a shitty show on top of it. Boo, keep our names out of your mouth. If you're not going to make a good show, then don't make any show. How about that? And it's weird. It's not particularly funny. It's not particularly sexy. I don't know what's going on that show. It just seems sort of like kind of weird and pathetic, like that dude's strange penis. I don't know. It's a weird show. And I'm convinced Jason Bateman is just reckless. He just can't stand Missouri. He did this with Ozark. He's done this now with St. Louis. And then the killer is they've got B-roll from Chicago. So you sent a crew to Chicago, but you couldn't do anything in the sister city? We allegedly have tax credits. Listen, St. Louis, I'm not trying to pretend St. Louis is great. I love St. Louis. I love being in St. Louis, and I'm proud to be from St. Louis. Most people who know me, like I hadn't seen somebody in 30, 40 years from college, and she was like, "You're in St. Louis. That's where you're from, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Everybody knew I was from St. Louis. I love being from St. Louis. Do I love living here all the time? Absolutely not. There's no progress. This is a city without a vision. And I can get into it if anybody's interested or if I feel like talking about it. But it's super insulting to watch a show with St. Louis in the title and have absolutely nothing representative in the show about St. Louis. We've got a lot of interesting shit. We've got a lot of great crime, which is where I plan to, that's the world I will inhabit. And that's another thing. I know crime. So this is centered around a crime and nothing about it is accurate there either. Terrible, terrible show. I hear it's a hit and I'm not sure why. It's really oddly filmed. Everything's so dark and, just completely inaccurate. I would boo them if I knew them. I would just be like, boo, boo, because I hate it. I hate the show. I hate how they film it. I hate how they disrespect my city by not respecting the city at all. City or county. I think they call it the suburbs. I don't know anybody who routinely calls St. Louis County the suburbs. There's no mention of the Cardinals. You know what I mean? Like, that's, even though the Cardinals suck ass right now, everybody has a Cardinal hat. Everybody has a Cardinal jersey. My mom wore Cardinal t-shirts. My brother has tons of Cardinal stuff. I have a Cardinal hat I wear all the time. Like, what's happening? You know, but I should know the world is off its axis because Hall & Oates are mad at each other. Hall & Oates hate each other's guts. I don't know that I can live in a world where Hall & Oates hate each other. I want to kind of go back to the 70s, the 80s, because at least it felt like, even though things were probably shitty, they just felt better. This feels awful. And, you know, to know that Hall & Oates hate each other, that's almost like a bellwether. Like, okay, that's letting us know shit is off. They made all those great songs and now they just can't stand each other. And I know what it is. The perception is that the talent was all coming from Daryl Hall, because I bought their records, and the ones that John Oates wrote were not on the radio. They were the tracks that you sort of lifted the needle up and went, you know, to the other songs that were Daryl Hall songs. And I'm pretty sure Daryl Hall has had his fill of carrying Oates. But they made a lot of hit songs together. They made a lot of fun videos. And it makes me sad that they hate each other's guts. These are strange times. We got to figure it out, though. We got to figure it out. But yeah, that's it for me today. That's all I'm thinking. I'm going to do a long form. Hopefully I'm going to have some time today and do a long form podcast. I just started the Ronan Farrell article on Sam Altman, who seems a little bit of a wacko, and he's strange. He's clearly a sociopath, but this article is really going to drill down, and I'm excited to read that because I think this is a great opportunity to break free from all these technocrats. They don't have to run our lives. We don't have to make them billionaires. And if we expose them, then maybe they'll just go away or go to prison. Like that Sam Bankman-Fried, who was like a big old shyster, big old scam artist. You know, and I think most of these guys are scam artists. Go back to some of my podcasts if you want, where I said I don't think AI can become what they are telling everybody. And they got this $1 trillion as a, you know, wealth transfer, but we don't have enough resources, just like electric cars are a scam. We don't have enough resources to make that the thing. We don't have enough resources to make AI the thing. They're even finding fake data centers. They just scammed for the money. Shocker. All right. Have a great Wednesday. Be safe. And we'll talk soon. Bye.